My name's Viv Cossar from Charlton in north central Victoria. Our farm is, I suppose, what you would call a mixed operation. We have grain, hay, and also run some sheep. With our hay production, we're typically aiming to produce a high quality product. We never aimed to produce a certain amount of tonnage of hay per year. We're probably looking at, our average yields per hectare, which our longer term is typically between 4 to 5 tonne. We aim at growing and export quality hay, regardless of whether or not it's going to go into those exporters or go domestically, because typically we find that that's a much easier hay to sell throughout the year. When we're, I suppose, into our hay season and we're starting to actually get bales in the paddock, we will try and shift it off the paddock as soon as we possibly can, depending on manpower and weather permitting. So our hay, once it's in the shed, can be there anywhere from 1 to 2 months through to 8 to 9 months. With regards to what temperatures are doing in a hay bale when we think about the quality, we're not seeing an issue at all with any of our export grade hay because of the moistures that we're effectively baling at when we're out in the paddock. It would be more so we're monitoring the temperatures and our moistures in our domestic grade hay. We certainly don't want to see any overheating in our bales where we start to get caramelisation or blackening in our bales or anything like that, because it is seen that obviously feed quality is reduced significantly. The actual concern for a hay fire is not necessarily that great because we believe we have a pretty good understanding of what our hay does and when we're baling it. In saying that, it's always, I suppose, diligent for us to be monitoring our hay and making sure that it's not at risk. The HAYTECH system that we currently use, I was made aware of it through a guy who has been using it for a number of years. We just use the one unit at the moment, which has each of the probes connected to it. That then feeds into the cloud, which I can then access and then see those individual temperatures for each of those probes. It's just giving us a clearer understanding of what's good, what's bad, with regards to what hay temperatures are doing. I don't think we ever really knew prior to being able to see this information live how a bale's behaving in that 2 to 3 months after baling. It just adds another level of information to our overall program that we can use. The more we use it, the more we can understand what we can then do in the paddock and know what those bales are going to do once they're stacked in the shed. Temperatures can be as low as 18 to 20 degrees. The temperature doesn't move whether the bale's out in the paddock singularly or whether it's 25 deep into a shed and in the middle of a stack. So that, I would say, would be the lower end of where you just know you don't have a problem. And we can be up to low 30s degrees Celsius and see that the bale actually is quite stable. But then we can find that will just sit and we're not seeing any issues with discoloration or any risk of overheating and causing any major issues for us. So we've had the HAYTECH system for 3 years. That first year was, I suppose, just learning how to use the system. But once you know how to operate it, and it's very easy to add more probes into your system, and because we all have a mobile phone now with data and the ease of access to whether it be Wi-Fi, satellite, whatever, it's a very easy system to use. With the HAYTECH system, obviously it's designed to give us an alert and we can set those alerts at particular temperatures. So we thought we'd try and test that system and see how accurate it was. So we actually did get some hay. We tested it, made sure it was hot, whacked the probes in, and then just saw how the system responded. Because we're getting an alert or an update on temperature every hour, after 2 hours we saw the temperatures go well beyond anything that was normal. and that support network that's in place. So we then got a phone call from the dealer to say, have you guys got a problem with some hay down there? And we said, well, we don't, but we've been testing this system. So that gave us a little bit more confidence that when we've got our probes in the shed and we're starting to rely on this technology and not physically coming and looking at the shed maybe every couple of days, we know that it's working. We've now got confidence in it after we tested it in that first year, and it's certainly been well worth it. Because now when we go and put anything in the shed, we can put this system at work and just simply monitor. While we don't aim to put hay in a shed that might, be at risk, this is just another level of insurance for us that, what we've got going in the shed we can monitor, and we can just simply see how the hay's behaving. It's helping us make better decisions in the paddock as well. As we continue to adopt technology, and this is something that certainly my father wouldn't have used or seen 20 years ago, I can only see it being or continuing to be adopted, and hopefully with that comes more and more improvement as it becomes more mainstream.